Well, greetings and salutations, everyone. I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, your friendly neighborhood Christian whistleblower. Welcome to the Christian Whistleblower channel. We've got a special treat for you tonight. I just want to make sure we don't have anything up here on the sound, make sure it's muted out. And we have our very first in-studio interview. And tonight we're going to reach out to some of the young guns of conspiracy. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Jake. Jake is in the house, in the studio. First time ever. We're going to talk conspiracy tonight with some of the younger generation. Jake, tell people, first of all, how old you are, just a little bit about you so they can understand who we're talking to.
For sure. Well, I'm 23. I am a glass artist. So actually, most of what I make is just little tiny glass aliens. So,
maybe a little bit up closer.
Yeah,
there you go.
About a fist away from my face, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just make, glass aliens specifically more than anything, just because it's something that fascinates me more than anything else, I guess. So it's like, I'm watching stuff about aliens all night and then working on glass aliens all day. So it's kind of like nice,
So do you sell glass aliens?
Yes, I do. Yeah. I have an Instagram. If anybody wants to check it out.
What is it?
At PM Does Glass. And yeah, you can just check out all my stuff there. It's kind of my portfolio. So
at PM Does Glass.
Yeah.
Do you have a Etsy or anything like that?
I do have an Etsy. Yeah, it's under the same name, at PM Does Glass on Etsy.
All right, cool. And I understand that you just shampooed your hair for the first time in like a while.
Yeah, very long time. Yeah. It's a little soft and flowy, so I'm just gonna kind of have it back here for right now.
So what is the thing about not washing your hair?
I don't know. It's just kind of like a friend of mine kind of convinced me. Like I noticed his hair looked fine and he hadn't used shampoo in years. And I was like, okay, whatever. Tried it. And yeah, I got over the hump and it was like, it seemed fine. But, now that I've like shampooed it, I kind of realized it wasn't fine. But,
Interesting. Because my hair is this length and I shampoo it like 3 times a week.
Yeah, no, I went like 2 years, but
2 years with no shampoo, but you're in the shower washing it out, right?
Yeah,
with water.
I definitely do hot water, like hotter than normal water.
No kidding.
Yeah, and it worked for me.
It's probably healthier for your hair.
Yeah, I've heard that, and I mean, like my hair seems fine, so I'm kind of thinking it's all right. But like, yeah. And it's, doing my own thing, just making glass all day. It really doesn't matter if my hair looks too bad or not.
There's nothing like getting made fun of by your own audience. Jameis says, of course he sells them, or he'd have a whole horde of glass aliens.
Which I do also have a horde of glass aliens.
Do you?
Well. Yeah, no, I've got them hanging on everything.
Now, do you ever go to any of these local fairs or things like that and sell glass aliens?
Yeah, no, I usually go and set up at First Friday.
Move over just a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. Sorry.
There you go.
Yeah, I usually go and set up at First Friday, but like downtown KC. But
okay.
I'll also be setting up like at the local glass gallery, the It's a Dream.
Nice.
It's a Dream KC. I'll be there on Halloween, set up with a bunch of really cool stuff. So.
Oh, cool. Because I sell these bracelets. These are Schumann Resonance bracelets that help stabilize your body. I've been looking for a place to go locally, maybe once a month and sell these.
Yeah, First Friday, 100%.
First Friday,
you don't have to have a permit or anything. You can just go set up in the art district.
Do they do that even when it's snowy and stuff?
No, typically, I mean, I think you're allowed to, but there's not going to be anybody there.
Gotcha.
It's like freezing out.
Cool. So you make glass aliens. Would it be a stretch to say that your first foray, your first interest in things conspiratorial would have had to do with aliens?
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. The aliens really I had an encounter and that kind of just kicked off the research,
Do you want to tell us about it?
Yeah, for sure.
Please do. Tell us about the encounter.
Well, I've lived in rural Missouri my whole life, and I've always been watching for wildlife, watching for anything really.
Mm-hmm.
And I was down in southern Missouri, near Fairplay, Missouri, actually. And I was driving there, and it was about 7:30 in the morning, so during the day. And I look over in this field, and I see this just really strange shaped object floating, spinning perfectly clockwise, just floating in the middle of this field. And I was just like, so initially, I wasn't like instantly like, oh, that's aliens. I was like, what am I seeing? Because it was like a metal object, the color of like pencil lead.
Interesting.
But it was floating like a helium balloon. And it's like the physics just didn't look right at all. I'm like seeing this metal object do things that like a balloon would do essentially, except obviously controlled. It's spinning perfectly and not even above the tops of the trees. Like this was like on the ground and I'm like in this field with this thing. So this wasn't like a light in the sky. This was like, I saw detail. I even have a drawing of it, but
now, were you in a car?
Yes, I was. I was driving to a spot to actually go morel mushroom hunting. And, you know, super early in the morning, like I'm awake, I'm alert. Like I'd been driving for like an hour and a half, like, you know, wasn't tired, wasn't under the influence of anything. And I see this thing just floating and I was just like confused. I was really
that
confused.
makes sense. How long did it float?
So the whole time that I'm driving by it here in this field, it was like I was coming around this corner and it was in the middle of just a grass field. There's nothing in the field. I didn't even see any livestock in it. It's an empty field with this thing just floating above the ground. And yeah, so it's probably about 15 to 20 seconds probably total that I was like looking at this thing, like driving and like looking, like I did like probably 3 or 4 takes, like what am I looking at right now? And you know, it just really like, it just blew my mind. And so
did you stop?
Looking back, I would like now if that happened, yes, I would slam on my brakes. I don't care if I'm stopped in the middle of the road. There was like no turn-offs. Like it was literally just like a small highway going through a field. Like I totally would stop now. Looking back, like no way am I not gonna stop.
Right.
But no, I didn't stop. I was just super confused. It confused me. My initial thought, what I told myself as I was leaving was this must seriously be some sort of weather balloon that I don't know of existing.
But it was super low, right?
Super low and just spinning perfectly. Like it was a really interesting shape too. It wasn't shaped like a saucer. It wasn't shaped like even like a person would be in it necessarily. It was like an elongated, well, I believe now after doing all this research for these years, I believe that it was forgive me if I pronounce it wrong, a Van Neumann probe. Like there's like a theory that every civilization hits a point in technology where they will send a probe before they actually fly themselves. And like, it's like self-replicating probe. So they think that, you know, you could actually visit every planet in a galaxy, like within a 500,000 years, I think's the number. If you build these probes and they're self-replicating and then they go out and hit them all.
Interesting.
It's a really fun theory. And it's like, well, that kind of, I definitely think what I saw was a probe. Like it didn't have any lights. There was no landing gear, and it was probably about the size of a pickup truck, like in length, but like standing up on end. So it's like
wasn't the size of Cynthia's new pickup truck?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't check it out.
Oh,
but
oh, that's right. It's in the garage. I thought it was out in the driveway.
Well, yeah, it was like, you know, 12 to 15 feet probably in length, and it's like, yeah, just solid matte, like pencil lead color, the exact color.
Jake, did you get any sense of intelligence from it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like that's why I was thinking weather balloon, not just, you know, something else. It's because it looked like it was controlled. Like somebody had to have been somewhere controlling it is what I was thinking.
Interesting. Yeah. Interesting. And is that the only UFO sighting that you've seen?
Yeah, that's the only thing that I'm like positive what I saw was like alien technology, not just like some sort of government craft or not, you know, something like that. Like it would make no sense for the US government to have probes like this and then to have them floating in the middle of southern Missouri, like over nothing, like literally nothing.
But you were clear-minded, nothing going on.
Yeah. And, interesting. And at the time I was like a complete skeptic. I believed that aliens existed, but the idea of them coming to Earth, I was like, why would they do that?
Yeah.
Well, you know, obviously there's some sort of information they can gain from it because like they had a probe here at least.
Were you suffering from any pain or insomnia or anything like that?
No, nothing. I had no like physical effects and, you know, nothing like that. It was life-changing, honestly. It's like why I make these guys now.
Yeah, interesting. Now, if you had been suffering from pain or insomnia, you could have gone to jeffreydaugherty.com and checked out my sponsors, Verve. They make the best CBD oil out there, in my opinion. Really good for insomnia, really good for pain, very good for folks that are experiencing anxiety. So just go to jeffreydaugherty.com, click on the Verve logo. That'll take you right to the Verve page. You get a great discount when you go through jeffreydaugherty.com. That's Verve CBD. And if you had been experiencing that, it would have helped a brother out. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, CBD is legit. Try it out.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you're 23-ish, right?
Yep.
How many people that are in your age group would you say would believe in UFOs?
I mean, like, honestly, it'd be hard to find someone that didn't.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Because in my age group, old people, if I had to guess, I'd say 50-50.
Yeah, I would say it's definitely more than that. I mean, like, realistically, yeah, I think it'd be hard to find. Like, I don't really want to put a number, but like, yeah, it'd be hard to find somebody that didn't believe that was like my age. Like everybody my age, like I talked to is like, yeah, aliens exist. But the big thing that they question is, do they come to Earth? They
Gotcha.
question all the sightings. They think that there's no substantial evidence and like none of the sightings are legit, which I mean, you know, there's been a lot of newer things happening, like with the whole Commander David Fravor guy, like in the Tic Tac to Go Fast in the Gimbal video.
Yeah.
Those are pretty rock solid, you know, like having the United States military come out and say, we don't know what this is. And yeah, this is a legit video. And it's like, even then people are still like, oh no, you know, like it's just a China or something. And I'm like, if
that
you
makes
think
sense.
for a second that China would have this, you know, beyond our technology kind of like flying capabilities, like the fastest jets that we have, and the US government would have no clue. Like, I don't buy it. Like, I think if anybody had crazy UFOs like that, it would be us. So for like, and why would the military release that if they thought that this could be, you know, like a secret Russian weapon or something?
Right.
Like, I just don't buy it.
Interesting. I wonder how you would account for the difference in so many more young people willing to accept the idea of UFOs, extraterrestrials, versus old people like me that if it's 50%, I'd say that was high.
That's pretty good. I mean,
do you think it's just closed-mindedness on the older generation? Younger people more willing to open their minds?
Yeah, and it didn't help that, like, up until recently, anytime that, you know, they would mention UFOs or aliens in the news, they'd have the, you know, X-Files music playing in the background. True. And they're like, oh, you know, like obviously making a joke of it. Well, it's like now we have the sitting president saying like, yeah, I've been briefed on UFOs. No jokes, no laughs. Like, yeah, I've been briefed on UFOs. And it's like, whoa.
Do you know who Giorgio is?
Not
Giorgio Tsoukalos, the guy from Ancient Aliens.
No, I've never really watched that.
That's so cool. I love that. So even though you've never seen Ancient Aliens, you don't know who Giorgio is. Sorry, Giorgio. You don't know any about that stuff. Do you know what Coast to Coast AM is?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I've definitely listened to quite a few of those. A few of those episodes. There for a while, I was like watching those like every day. But
so your belief in aliens though isn't from Ancient Aliens, X-Files, that kind of stuff. It's not from TV.
It's from personal experience, in my opinion. You know, you can hear somebody talk about their sighting, and since it was just me, there is no, you know, multiple pages of backup and information that like proves my story. But it's like, for me personally, like I went from not believing in them coming to Earth to being like, you know, this thing's floating in a field and defying gravity, definitely using some sort of anti-gravity technology. I have no idea, but like I honestly feel really like privileged and lucky that I was able to see this technology in action. You know, a technology that most people here are like, they doubt it's even like a real thing. Well, I actually got to see it. So it's like, that kind of was the big, you know, change for me. Like,
if you had to guess, would you say that aliens would be more benevolent or more malevolent?
Well, okay, that's really interesting because like I actually heard this really good theory, and I don't know, I can't remember exactly who was saying this.
Take a few, sweetheart.
But yeah, I heard this theory that if a civilization of, you know, aliens, a race of aliens was smart enough to be able to fly from their planet on the other side of the galaxy or universe to ours, that they must have already passed the point of self-destruction, which I think our Earth has already done as well. I think we were like really borderline with, you know, missiles aimed at everybody, and it like could have gone off. But I think we made it past. I think we were civilized enough.
You think we're past it? You really do?
Yeah, I don't think that like World War III would ever happen, and if it did, it wouldn't be like the annihilation of the whole Earth.
So you're not afraid of President Kim of North Korea shooting off a nuke?
Well, I mean, of course that's a real threat, but I don't think it would be world ending, and I don't think
I
don't think it would like set back civilization. Like, yeah, it might, you know, harm a lot of people, but I also believe, I have faith in the United States military industrial complex and their ability to have weapons of mass destruction that could stop that kind of stuff. You know, they probably don't like advertise that, but I mean, come on, they've got to have some sort of laser on a satellite or something.
That's such a weird way to think about it, but it's so true. You trust the bad guys, you trust the rad bastards in the military industrial complex enough to be able to shoot down some shit that they would shoot at us.
And that's given.
That's true though. That's well put.
Yeah, and that's, you know, that's given that they are actually working for the greater good. Like, there's a good chance that, like, you know, there'd be some sort of weird monetary thing that they would just let it happen. But I think that if they knew, they'd be able to stop it, like, straight up. Like,
and so do you think that, I heard this theory recently, and writing a book on it. I'm thinking that it may, in fact, be true that any species that is malevolent, any species that has designs on harming, conquering, hurting another species is by some type of not international, but the universe is bigger than the galaxy, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So it's some universal law that says that as long as you are a malevolent species, an aggressive species, you're restricted to your own planet's airspace. You can't get out. They lock you up in some type of a force field.
Yeah, see, I don't know anything about that necessarily, but I do think that, like, it just in as far as like human nature goes, like, yeah, or alien nature, I'd say, yeah, it'd be really difficult for a civilization to ever hit the point that they had these technologies so advanced that they'd be able to go that far, because it's like it must be a huge deal whenever they finally, you know, figure out how to go from, you know, this galaxy to the next, which it's, you know, I definitely don't think it's that probe I saw, there's no way it just flew in a straight line from wherever it just came from. Like, it had to have done something. Like, and that's a big thing. People think that there's no way, the distance is too great. Well, yeah, using a rocket like NASA has,
that's
yeah,
right.
It's definitely too far. But it's not hard to imagine that they would hit you know, a breakthrough of some kind, like figure out how to make a warp drive.
Yeah, portals or warp drive or transdimensional.
Totally, yeah.
What do most people your age, I know that's very, you know, a blanket how would you surmise that most younger people, what are their general thoughts towards NASA?
I think pretty much everybody thinks that they're up to something, you know, and
never a straight answer.
Yeah, never a straight answer. I think pretty much most people think that they're like hiding something, which, I mean, yeah, they probably almost certainly are. You know, the whole moon landing thing. I'm not saying.
Oh, let's talk about that.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying that there's enough. Let's just call them little fudge ups. I think there's enough of those that it's pretty weird. Like, there's something going on.
Dude, you ever been to Washington, D.C.?
No, I haven't.
Go to Washington, D.C., go in the Smithsonian. You can get this close to the thing they say landed on the moon. Bro.
Yeah, with the gold foil and stuff.
There's no way that thing landed on the moon. My shower curtain, it has more structural integrity than that.
Where did the Land Rover, I mean, the Range Rover or whatever it's called, where was that thing at, you know?
Do you know that they actually looked at the schematics of the lunar module, and they looked at the schematics of the little rover and how it's supposed to fit into the lunar module? It literally does not fit. They took the specifications from, I think it was it Lockheed Martin who built it or somebody else? But anyway, they took the company's specifics, the company's blueprints. Here's the lunar rover. Here's the limb. Here's how it goes. Here's where it goes. And when you match them up, it literally, they could not have got that damn rover onto the lunar module.
Yeah, and that's just like one of many things that is like, why doesn't this add up? So it's like
one more. Let me throw my favorite.
Yeah.
2 astronauts that get all their astronaut suit on to go outside. So let me ask you, Jake, if you're going to go outside, do you have to have your astronaut suit on before you go out or after you go out?
Yeah, obviously before.
So do you know that the lunar module was too small physically? There's no way for 2 dudes in astronaut suits to get out the door.
Yeah, and doesn't it takes like 2 people to even get one person inside the actual suits, right? Like, doesn't it take like, you know, like 2 people's, I don't
come back in the shop, bro.
Sorry, I keep like.
That's all right. That's all right.
My bad.
But it's just and yet somehow I'm not ready to say no, we never went to the moon.
Yeah.
But I'm saying what they showed us of going to the moon wasn't it.
That's exactly what I think.
Now my friend Eddie Bravo, it's all fake. Yeah. It's all fake.
Yeah, Eddie's great, but
I spent 3 hours locked in a room with Eddie Bravo.
Oh, I bet that was awesome.
It was awesome.
I bet that was some high energy.
Oh, dude, Eddie's just like you see him on the air. That's Eddie off the air.
That's awesome. That's super awesome.
And you know, he won't even start with flat Earth. He says the first question I ask is, did we go to the moon? Because if you believe we went to the moon, I can't even talk to you about flat Earth. You got to get past the moon first.
Definitely. Yeah, and that's kind of my view on the moon landing. It's that I think
it's fake.
No,
that's Eddie Bravo.
I think that a lot of the video and photos we've seen, definitely fake. But I think that it's not unlikely that we actually went. I think it's really weird that they would live stream the first attempt ever at trying to actually go to the moon. Like, how is this even possible that they did that in, like, wasn't it 1964?
It was 68, wasn't it? Somebody help a brother out. I was there. I watched it. So I was born in 63. So it had to be like 68. Yeah.
Well, yeah. And so, yeah.
69?
that's a really ridiculous feat, like being able to actually live stream from
and
the
dude, they
moon.
went with the technology of a Commodore 64.
Impossible. It's seriously impossible. So I think
69.
I think that if they did, thank you. I think that if they did go to the moon, that's not what we saw, you know.
Right.
And that's why it's huge. I'm sure everybody's super excited about supposedly going back to the moon in 4 or 5 years from now. I think that that like seeing HD footage is going to be pretty revealing. Actually seeing what people actually look like walking around on the moon. It's just that whole subject.
Oh, there's a whole nother subject. Neil Armstrong, first guy on the moon, right? Except for the guy taking the photographs of him coming down the ladder.
Exactly.
And then the lunar module, here's our astronauts leaving the moon. Who'd they leave? Bruce Willis behind, like in that movie?
Yeah.
Just left him leaning up against a rock. See ya, Bruce. You're dead, bro.
It makes no sense.
Who took the picture?
Yeah, so it's like, I really don't know. But if we did go, that's not what we saw. That's kind of how I feel about it. It's like if they did go and actually, obtain samples, that's not what we actually saw a video of. Like, there's just no way. They wouldn't have live streamed something that could have potentially almost certainly resulted in everyone dying. Like,
oh yeah. Do you go to these music festivals with Chino and Maggie? And
yeah, definitely.
So if I took my man on the street rig and walked up and asked 50 people at one of those places if we went to the moon or not, what would you guess my responses would be?
I think that there's still a lot of stigma around that subject right now. And most people it's still one of the subjects, the few things that if you're like, I don't believe we went to the moon, like people are still going to be like, oh, you're crazy. Like,
oh, are they? Even young people?
Yeah, even young people. They're like, oh, you deny the moon landing? That means everything you say is absolutely like just crazy talk. And I'm like, yeah, well,
Ooh.
Yeah, it's really interesting that one subject is like so divisive on this kind of stuff. But yeah, it's like, most people my age, I feel like as soon as they hear you don't believe the moon landing, they're like, oh yeah, he's crazy.
What do most people your age think about stem cells?
I would just assume that none of them really know a whole lot about them.
Well, Jake, I work with a stem cell company called Stem Light, and people that have injuries, people that have debilitating sicknesses and illnesses, people whose even hair is falling out. Thank goodness mine's not. It's turning colors, but it's not turning loose. If you have any of these type of debilitating injuries, if you're feeling the ravages of age, if you don't have the energy, if you've been sick, go to jeffreydaugherty.com, click on the Stem Light logo, use the code word HEAL, and you'll save 20% off of your stem cell treatment. And if you're a doctor and you want to work with the exclusive partner, the exclusive stem cell partner of the National Football League Alumni Association, dun, 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 go to Southern STEM. If you're a doctor, southernstem.com. Use the word HEAL. We will hook you up with so much swag, with so much opportunities with the NFL, banners, signage for your office, interaction with NFL people. Not to mention, you'll be able to give your patients, and you know how good stem cell technology is, doctors, the very best. So go to jeffreydaugherty.com, click on the Stem Light logo. If you need stem cells for yourself, use the word HEAL, save 20%. If you're a doctor, go to southernstem.com. Use the word HEAL to get hooked up with a company that is hooked up with the National Football League. We will hook you up with the NFL Players Association, or NFL Alumni Association, my bad. So Cynthia asked this question, Jake. People that are of the younger generation, flat earth, what do they think?
Yeah, no, I'm like nobody that I know actually believes in flat earth.
Nobody that you know?
No.
How about you personally?
No, definitely not me personally.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why would you say to Eddie Bravo, sorry, Eddie, the earth's not flat?
Well, I'm just from observing everything.
Keep in mind, he did tap a Gracie. I just want you to know.
To do what now?
He tapped out a Gracie, one of the Gracie brothers in UFC.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Well, yeah, it's just like everything you observe in nature kind of tells you that it's not actually flat. Like I'm like, a water droplet, it's a sphere. Like it.
Oh, good point.
Like things like that. It's like there's definitely enough. And like how I've seen that little experiment where they dig the holes and they're like the shadows, like Well, yeah, I think it makes perfect sense that it's definitely not. And it's like look at the moon, look at the sun. I guess the moon is like landlocked, so you always do see one side. That doesn't really prove anything, but everything else, literally every other planet is spinning,
It's interesting. And somebody says it restores my faith in younger generation tonight. So thank you, Garden of Goodness Treasures. I think, have I seen you before, or am I just getting old? But that's good, because it seems like, and here we go again, with our crowd, 35, 40 and up, dude, flat earth is blowing up. They got a meeting down in Dallas, like 20, 30,000 people showing up for the Flat Earth conference.
I actually watched a couple clips of that. Yeah, I saw a few shots of that conference thing. And yeah, I don't know. I'm not trying to insult everybody, but I'm like, yeah, personally, it doesn't make sense to me from everything that I've ever researched and things, like,
Interesting.
And just what you see in nature. That's kind of what gets me. It's like, things don't just make flat discs. Like, I get the idea, but I mean,
their best arguments are the horizon looks flat, water always finds a level, but it's a long stretch from there to the earth is flat.
Yeah, to being the whole planet being flat. I'm like, that just doesn't make any sense at all. I'm just
interesting.
Yeah.
And I keep asking about young people, but people
sure.
in your genre, do they talk about or have any thoughts about reptilians?
I mean, that's one of those things too. It's like, I hear about it sometimes. Most people my age, they're gonna laugh at you if you start talking about reptilians. Like,
really?
For sure. Yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah, it's one of the subjects that people just aren't like ready to hear about anything like that. And it's like, personally, I don't know. I haven't been shown enough evidence specifically on this one species of alien to actually think that is like super, super credible. But I think that it's 100% plausible that, we evolved from monkeys. So of course, like something, or, mammals, something else, it makes perfect sense that there would be like, a dolphin that gained super, intelligence. It makes sense to me, at least. And I've also heard a really fascinating theory about how most aliens would actually be like the same humanoid shape as, like, as humans,
mm-hmm.
like where we walk on two legs and have two arms. I've heard some fun theories about how that actually might be like just universal. That's just how it happens when things like evolve. So it's like, yeah, you would totally be left with a reptilian. You'd be left with like a lizard person that's walking on two legs,
I think if there are reptilians, they are bipedal like we are.
Yeah, and I've heard some good theories on that. So,
dude, would you date an alien?
That's a very it depends question.
But if it was a hot alien, would you date?
I'm not even like concerned about that, as long as there's not like a communication barrier, like if I could understand it, I probably would, just to have that
what if you dated an alien and they have telepathy and you don't?
Yeah, of course.
Dude, that would be rough, wouldn't it? Oh, you'd be out.
Or maybe
what do you got to hide, Jake?
I was about to say, or maybe this alien would realize how good my intentions are and what I'm trying to find out from it, and that would be what it liked. I don't know, but
that's a really good point, because so many times in human relationships, whether you like boys or girls or whatever, you get into these things where what you say isn't what they hear, and you really have mistakes of intentions where you didn't mean to say that she was fat or he was ugly, but that's what they heard.
And if the reptilian could just understand, then they would just know that you're not being mean. So it's like, I mean, I would just do anything to sit down with an alien and actually talk to it about stuff like that. So
do you think you could kiss one of those alien tongues?
Oh, I don't know about that. That's a little more kinky than I'm into at this current time. But
I understand.
I have to be presented with the right alien. So
I understand. Wow. Sorry about that. That was kind of silly, but yeah, it just makes you wonder. It just makes you wonder. Let's talk about this. This is another thing that's big in my age group. Let's say from 35 up to while they're still alive. There's a lot of them that are beginning to want to gain spiritual experiences, to expand their mind through the use of psychedelic substances, sure. DMT, mushrooms, ayahuasca. Is that a case with your age group?
Definitely. And I mean, personally, I was very intrigued by the idea of this communication with some sort of interdimensional aliens within like super deep psychedelic trips. And I think that, like through, I think that there's a lot of good evidence that, yeah, through like a DMT experience, yeah, you might actually be communicating with something. How everybody has these kind of shared trips, how they'll see a very similar thing that's like, you know, completely made up.
Doesn't everybody see those L's?
I don't know about that. I didn't personally, but
oh, so you do have some experience in this?
Yeah, for sure. And everybody sees some sort of grid whenever they like start really going into DMT.
In the sky or
everything. There's no more flat surfaces. Even like a blank white wall now has a grid in it.
So is it like it's a simulation we're in?
And I think that it does kind of lean towards that being sort of proof of their some sort of simulation. Like you're actually starting to see this grid, which, you know, the human brain's a very amazing thing. And yeah, it's like emotions, all this stuff. Like it all is.
That's fascinating.
It's interesting that everyone's brain works the same in the sense that, like, you know, yeah, we see a white wall like right now because we're sober. We see a white wall, but if everybody does this one little thing and it turns into a grid and you start seeing things that just you would never.
What would you say to Tracy saying that's probably suggested programming? You expect to see it and you do.
I actually did not know about the grid until after I had tried it myself. And then that's what I saw. That's like really one of the only things I brought out of that experience.
Interesting.
Was that I was like, I just saw a grid on everything, and come to find out everybody sees some sort of like weird grid. Yeah, I had not seen it.
Did you see colors?
Yeah, I mean, I saw colors, but it was like
were you like tripping, bro, or were you just like?
Yeah, no, definitely. And it's like DMT is definitely not on the same like playing field as like shrooms or acid or anything like that. Like this is
so it's a higher playing field.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. We're talking like
because guys like Rogan and Bravo and those guys, they report profound experiences. Bill Hicks, the comedian, I don't know if you remember him. Another guy reported profound experiences on ayahuasca, DMT, mushrooms.
Which, yeah, I'm pretty sure ayahuasca is the same DMT technically.
That's right, is what is in ayahuasca. Except DMT, you don't have to throw your guts up.
Exactly. And like, yeah.
Which DMT, personally, I'm all for.
I'm not about that. I don't like feeling sick. So
no way,
that
man.
Like makes me feel that way, I'm not about it. But the DMT is really insane because it's within 60 seconds and your whole reality's gone. You're not even.
Is it a pill or?
No, you have to smoke it. Like
you smoke it. Okay.
Yeah, and
like a dab. You got to help a brother out. What's a dab?
A dab, like wax concentrates, like cannabis concentrates. You have to dab. You have to kind of just like torch something red hot. Essentially.
So it goes into a pipe.
Red hot. Yes, or a rig or whatever.
Like a bong.
Yeah, you could do that.
Can you help me out? On a bong, you're smoking the bong does the smoke go through the water?
Yeah, well, the water's only purpose is to cool the smoke, essentially.
So the smoke actually goes through the water.
Yeah, and it's the
and it bubbles
area.
up.
That's what
that's amazing.
You want the most surface area like contact between the smoke and the water. That's why like certain rigs or bongs that make a lot more bubbles will, you know.
So you want like a big flat one, like a flat earth bong?
Not sure on that one, but yeah, no, it's just all about surface area contact between.
I'm asking for a friend, like Jameis says. Yeah, just asking for a friend.
Tobacco bongs are crazy things.
Yeah, they are. Tobacco bongs, crazy. So it makes it not so harsh, right? It's not.
Yeah,
doesn't taste hot.
It definitely cools it down and makes it a lot smoother. And personally, I don't really care for water. I don't really use water in anything like that. But you know, people think I'm weird for that, but it's preference. It really is just preference. Does the same thing.
Do you consider, I mean, you know, just have you heard from any of your friends about if edibles are better than smoking?
And that again is going to be preference.
Is it?
Yeah, because I think that it really depends on dosage, first of all. But
gotcha.
Yeah, edibles are a little more mild and uplifting, I would say. But obviously, if you take a bunch of milligrams, you're going to just be knocked out like you would if you smoked a bunch. But yeah, they're just kind of totally different things. Like one, you know, you're eating and it's just the intake is completely different. So it's like,
right. You know, Cynthia, right? That you met here at Maggie's mom.
Yeah.
Seems like a really nice, calm, conservative lady, right?
Yeah.
Dude, she totally smoked dope with Tommy Chong. Cheech and Chong, bro.
Oh, you got to be very careful about that. No one calls it dope anymore.
Oh, what do they call it?
Just weed, pot, anything like that, because dope's like
we're old. They were smoking dope, bro.
Oh, that
no, they marijuana. I'm just kidding.
Like, seriously, I'm still even confused now that you're even elaborating. I'm like, that's oof. Yeah, no, that's epic though. To actually get to smoke with one of them.
Look at what she said. STFU. What does that stand for, Jay?
Shut the fudge up.
Herb, yeah. I've got pictures of it. I can prove it.
Oh, that would actually be sick. I'd have that put on a t-shirt. Like you.
Oh, I want to get a picture of her and Tommy Chong on that t-shirt.
Yeah, like mid cough, like handed Tommy Chong.
Oh God, that would be awesome. Passing the what would I call the actual if it was a joint? Passing a joint?
Yeah, passing the joint.
Okay. Oh, that's so hilarious.
Yeah, that would be sweet.
God, I'm gonna do that. I got to get that picture again. I think she sent it to me. But anyway, we need to get back to the point at hand. So
sure.
You, through your studies, learning, did you find that the what would they be called? Psychotropics, psychedelics, did they help in your spirituality, or was it just entertainment value?
Yeah, it's always, I have never really other than that the DMT experience, no, I've never really done anything that I thought helped me personally on like spirituality or anything.
Interesting.
Like that. Yeah, that's just.
So what do you say to these people that are like, oh man, I smoked mushrooms, or I took DMT, I had some LSD, and it just opened me up, and all of a sudden I was a spiritual being I never had been before, and I saw Jesus and Tommy Chong passing a joint.
I think that these are very profound substances, and for certain people, like and I mean even like the artist Alex Gray, me and some friends, actually Maggie and Gino, we got to go see Alex Gray do a live painting and seminar. It was really interesting. Well, he was talking about how him and his wife Allison were doing large amounts of LSD back in like this late 70s.
Wow.
And they were both seeing some insane things. And that's what I learned, was just like crazy. Alex Gray isn't like making these images up. These are things that he was able to.
Oh, interesting.
He saw these things, so he painted them. And that to me made his paintings just 10 times cooler. It's not just some crazy, psychedelic looking picture. It's like, those are the closest things you're going to get to an actual photograph of something that you would see inside a really deep experience.
Like an interdimensional or something.
Yeah.
So I don't want to use the word dope.
Yeah.
What's dope for relate to these days?
That would be meth in my book.
Oh, dope is like meth?
Yeah.
Like pick your skin and.
Yeah, something like that. I would assume meth. Like if somebody was like, oh yeah, he's on that dope, I'd be like, oh.
So dope, we don't want to talk about dope anymore.
Yeah.
But isn't it like if people say, oh, that's dope, bro, that shirt's dope.
Yeah, no, that's still context, still works.
Okay.
Yeah.
But just don't say I'm gonna go smoke some dope or
take
some dope.
Sounds bad. Like it makes me laugh when you say it. I'm like, oh my God.
Okay, so we won't do any dope. We're not doing any
heroin. That's exactly
dope.
what I was thinking. Thank you.
There's meth heroin?
No, he's just saying meth or
heroin.
heroin.
I was gonna say shit, meth and heroin. And I'm just saying where we live, if you wanted to score some meth, you probably could.
Yeah, definitely. It's a bit of a problem, but hey, whatever floats your boat. Not judging any of you.
Dude, I'm going down to Laughlin, Nevada. And across the river from Laughlin, Nevada is this place called Bullhead City. That's your water, by the way, if you need a drink.
Thank you.
It's per capita the biggest meth head place in the United States.
See, I heard it used to be Independence, Missouri.
Oh, I wouldn't doubt that either. I've been through Independence.
Yeah, and it's still a problem, but actually like heroin's becoming more of a problem just from what I've seen and things like that. It seems like that's kind of becoming the new fad. But,
is there anybody that can do meth recreationally?
Totally. Yeah.
Really? So you could just not be a meth head and just use some meth.
I think that would take some willpower, but yeah, totally.
Interesting.
I think that there's probably quite a few people that do that.
Interesting. Okay, let's change subjects for a minute. We're running out of time, sort of. My big thing is I'm the Christian whistleblower. I was 20 years a preacher. I saw what I thought were the cracks in big time religion. And I think it's a fear and guilt control matrix. And I'm trying to get people to rethink why they believe what they believe and actually come up with some reasons. What would you say the younger generation's general impression of organized Christianity, Roman Protestant, Roman Catholicism is?
I would say, honestly, like just from my experience, very few people my age actually believe in any sort of Catholicism in any way. Like,
boom.
Very few people.
That's awesome.
I would say I honestly don't really know any people, like personal friends that are like actually Christians or anything.
So nobody's asked you to come out to church on Sunday?
No, definitely not. It's just even over my lifetime, I've seen things like that. Just it's kind of being I guess, pushed out. Like, you know, you're not allowed to like really talk about it anymore.
So people don't talk about church and Jesus and get saved. When's the last time that somebody asked you, have you accepted Jesus as your personal savior?
Since like my mom took me to church when I was like, you know, 9 years old, which, you know, she only did that a couple times. She's a great lady. But yeah, and it was like she gave me the choice to make that decision. And like,
excellent.
You know, yeah.
So does that mean, you know, people that listen to this and people that are of that Christian mindset would say, oh, they're not going to church anymore. That means they're all atheists. Is that true?
No, definitely not, because I am not a Christian, but I'm also not an atheist either. I do believe in something. You know, we can get into that if you'd like, but like, you know, is it
possible to characterize the younger generation's feelings towards the divine?
I would say most people really just, it's really annoying to me though, in a way, that they're so anti-religion that they refuse to see any sort of anything in it, like any sort of substance or any sort of benefit to religion, which I think that there really are. And I think for a lot of people, it does help and it is a good thing, like just a good thing. But there is a lot of hate towards it nowadays. Like it's you'll get crap online if like, you know, like, I don't know.
Well, think about the shit that the church has done to people over the last 2,000 years. You can understand a little bit of anger.
Yeah. And I'm not saying that the organizations themselves are the best by any means, but I think that like, you know, 90% of the people that attend a large church, they are strictly there to just try and have a good time. Like they're trying to have something to relate to. They're not, you know, their intentions are good for going. I think most people.
I'd have to agree with you. And to me, that's the sad part of it, because the people that are leading the churches, the people that are in charge of the churches are taking advantage of the good intentions, the pure intentions of these people. Whereas I'm trying to get those people out from under that fear, that guilt, that control. You're a sinner. You got to have salvation, and we got the only savior in town.
And
that shit's got to go.
That's just hate, period.
It is.
So what I like to think is like, okay, so say you've got a church with like 100 people in there, and they're watching a sermon about like something positive, literally anything positive. That would give you a room of 100 people all focusing their energies on something positive, on thinking about something good, and I think that does have some sort of effect on human consciousness.
Absolutely.
Having everybody in the same state of mind. And I think that that's why that there is benefit to these churches. But yes, I think that the way that they are being taken advantage of, and I think that I'm not going to say most, but I think that there is a lot of wrongdoing in the church, especially like, you know, the big ones.
Absolutely. Do you know any people that are into Wicca, witchcraft, that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I have a few friends that are into that.
Would you say that's kind of growing in your age bracket?
Definitely growing. I'm not going to say it's like the most popular, but
I feel good about that.
Yeah, hey, whatever makes people happy. That's my attitude about any sort of religion. If it's like actually positive for you, then it's good. Fine.
What's probably the biggest spiritual trend that you see within people in your age group? Or is there one?
I really don't see one, other than people just starting to more and more believe in like vibrational frequencies. Really, I'm starting to see more and more younger people like really getting into these mindsets of like sending good vibes and things.
No
like
shit,
that.
That's great news.
Yeah, no, I think it's great. I really do. I think it's really great, and I see. I watched this video. It's a 1.5 minute long video. It's Dr. Yi. I'm gonna butcher this name. Iamoto.
Yeah, Dr. Emoto.
With the where he does
the rice and the water.
Rice.
Yeah.
I think that video like honestly changed my life in a lot of ways.
Ooh,
because
interesting.
it proved to me that it doesn't matter what you're okay. So say you meet somebody and you're really nice to them. That doesn't matter for your well-being or your state of mind. What matters is the intention behind the interaction. So it's like, you know, you could be saying, oh yeah, it's nice to meet you, but in your mind, you're like, oh, this sucks. Well, you know, if you've watched those videos, that means your brain is that black jar of rice.
It does.
That your brain is that rotten, just nasty jar of rice.
And who wants to be like that?
Too many people. They're trapped. It's like
how do they get out of that? Let's say people listening to us, they realize, oh shit, I am that rotting jar of rice, what would you suggest they do?
Well, yeah, it's really easy. The first thing people do, and it's like everybody's heard it. Anybody suffering with depression, they've heard it. Oh, just be happy. Like, well, that's complete nonsense. Like that does, like, I understand that that's, everyone understands that that's the goal, but understanding why and how to get there is the biggest thing. And that's why, that video was really life-changing for me, because it showed me that, my actual thoughts, my actual mind is altering water in some sort of at some sort of level. And so if you're actually on the inside starting to tell yourself, like, hey, today's not going to be that bad, instead of just still doing your job, but like in your mind just being like, oh, I don't want to be here, this is like the worst thing. Well, your brain gets turned into that black jar of rice. And I think that understanding why you should be positive is more important than just saying, oh, be positive, like you've got a great life. That doesn't work for anyone, but like actually understanding why you should be positive. Yeah, because I think that video, it just it showed me the most important thing, and that's that my mind is actually in control.
That's powerful stuff. I'm writing that down.
Yeah, definitely. Yamoto, I'm really butchering the guy's name. Masaru Yamoto, something like that.
Yeah.
Just look up 3 jars of rice experiment. If you,
I think everybody in there has probably seen that before. That's a super huge thing. It's amazing. So, if you look at if we went to the back end of my channel, we got almost 40,000 subscribers. And if you look at my demographics, it's almost 50-50 male, female, which I'm really proud of. I love that. That's amazing. But if you go down through the age groups, almost nobody under 20, very few under 30, and then from 40 and on up, boom, that's everybody that's watching. What are people 30 and under? What do you think that I could do to appeal to more of a younger crowd to get this message of why be positive? Tell me what would you?
Well, I think that the only reason that number is probably like that is because, kids my age aren't like getting on YouTube and trying to find certain information.
Dude, you're not watching YouTube?
Oh, I watch YouTube every night, like hours of it every day.
But the normal
people my age
20-something's not.
They're not like out doing their own research on a subject about, like anti-gravity propulsion.
What are they doing?
Watching Netflix.
Watching Netflix.
Like, literally. Like,
so should I get on Netflix?
Personally, I think Netflix is about to sink. But I think YouTube's probably going to take it over, because Netflix, they've got all these Netflix originals. Whatever.
Some of them are legit,
but there's no way that can keep up with all the independent content creators of the entire planet.
That's true.
Like, that's why YouTube's totally taken over with all their like movie rentals and stuff like that. It's soon going to just be YouTube and chill, But I think, really the reason most people my age aren't looking into certain subjects unless they're, shown something credible, which it's really hard to see that in mainstream and anywhere. Like, you don't see anything about actually looking into these things like anywhere. Like, I had to just, stumble across everything myself after, years of just kind of searching around and finding subjects that actually interested me. And personally, I think through studying all this stuff, like with the aliens and other dimension string theory, that kind of stuff, I have found great happiness personally, that starting to have a grasp on what is actually happening, at least in my opinion. Like, sure, a lot of people probably say I'm crazy, but it's like, I feel like I have a pretty good grasp on what's going on, and I think that it helps everyone if they did like have some sort of idea. But just too many people don't care. They hear aliens and they're like, nah, whatever. If
you hadn't seen that alien, do you think you would have gone down a spiritual pathway?
I have no idea. No, not necessarily spiritual, but like, and also at the time before I saw that 3 jars of rice experiment video, I didn't believe like really in anything like that. I didn't think
interesting. That's really cool.
Thoughts actually had a physical effect on your body, but they do, and that video proves it. And it's been repeated time and time again by just anybody, just kids just trying this thing at home.
Yep.
And like, that's like solid evidence. And also with like the music playing into the snow while it's snowing and it forms different types of snowflakes, I'm like,
powerful stuff.
That's happening in your head. Yeah. So it's like somebody who only listens to death metal, like my brother, yeah, it's kind of hard to just be a really happy person when you're always just getting blasted with this, just, you know, not trying to trash talk death metal. There's some great artists, but like, yeah, it's, you know, that experiment shows you like your brain is that super deformed snowflake whenever you're only listening to that kind of stuff. So it's like, yeah, I found great happiness like actually researching this stuff myself.
Now you have an affinity for Native American culture, correct?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
What are some of the great lessons that you've taken away from Native American culture?
First of all, that pretty much everything you learned about their culture in high school is completely wrong, completely false. Just through artifacts that I found myself, I'm like, I can prove that there was trade routes coming from all these different sites throughout the country, because, you know, I'll find this certain type of flint in southern Missouri. Where
so they weren't just native. A bunch of savages sitting around naked hunting buffaloes.
They were not just like hunter gatherers. Like there was whole
that's amazing stuff.
Like there was, you know, like all the mounds outside of St. Louis, like the Cahokia Mounds and stuff. Like that was a huge culture, and that one. Those are pretty recent, like 2,000 something years old. But there's spots that I found. I'm actually going tomorrow back down to southern Missouri. There's a spot I found where just in this one, under this one rock overhang, I have found artifacts like certain styles of points, arrowhead points, certain styles that, you know, one is 10 to 13,000 years old. And then right next to it, I'll find one that's 2,000 years old. Or even, you know, as new as 700 years old.
How would you account for that? Go ahead.
Yeah, meaning that there had been actual people in that exact spot for, you know, 13,000 years.
Ooh.
Which it's like just through the artifacts alone, which I think is the most concrete, unarguable evidence. Like, you know, you can read about something found in a book, but actually getting out there and being the one to find these things and being like, well, this point is, you know, a Browns Valley. This is an 11,000-year-old arrowhead. And then, yeah, finding one that you can prove is, you know, Mississippian era, more, you know, if only a couple thousand, all under the same rock overhang, meaning, like, yeah, people had been traveling through that area forever, like not just, oh, and I also found pottery shards under this spot. So it's like, you know, they're making pots. This is like a real community, like, and, you know, thousands and thousands of people and many, many generations. Like, yeah, in high school, you're taught, oh, yeah, it's just a couple guys in a teepee here, a couple guys in a teepee there. That's completely wrong. We're talking about, yeah, huge cities. And, yeah, and I mean, you can just prove it by the artifacts, which unfortunately, there is really no good way to see what artifacts have been found and where. Like that, to me, blows my mind that you can't just like look up what artifacts were found in this area.
Sounds like a cover-up.
Well, and yeah, no, and the whole Smithsonian coming and taking all the chiefs' bodies and all the really significant bodies out of the mounds. Literally, I just read about this one so my friend, he lives down in Shell City, Missouri. There's a place within 4 miles called the Blue Mound, also right next to the Osage Village. Some really big Native American sites. Well, in like 1890, I think it was, or 1830. I know that's big difference, but it's somewhere in the 18 somethings there. The actual remaining Osage Indians came up the Blue River on a canoe to bury one of the most famous Osage chiefs of all time at this mound. Well, 30 years later, the Smithsonian came and took that body. 30 years, like they knew who was in there. Like,
wow.
What like, you know, you hear about them doing that and you're like, oh, thousands of years old. Yeah, I'm sure there was lots of research. No, they took a body that had been there for 30 years.
There's no reason to do that.
No, and
no good reason.
The only good reason would be if they were going to document it and show us pictures of it, which there's none, absolutely zero.
Why would you theorize they took his body?
I have no idea. Well, and there was also some weird notes, like in all the newspapers, like when that happened, that like it was an abnormally large skeleton. So apparently, most of the bodies that they took were all these giant skeletons, which you know. Sure, I'm sure size did determine like your status to some extent, but like these were like abnormally large. And I'm like, I read stuff about some of them that had like double rows of teeth and
holy crap,
really strange things. And it's like, yeah, well, it'd be one thing for them to take it and show us what they found in there, but they don't. It's this information.
They hide it.
There is no photos. There's none. Like that, you know, there's a newspaper article that the town wrote whenever it happened, and that's it. The Smithsonian's just sitting on all the bodies basically from every mound, and no one's allowed to see them. No information is given, and yeah, it might as well have never happened. Like, and that's why I'm like, it makes me super mad. Like,
oh, I can imagine. So we're almost out of time. Let me ask you this. Hair. We already started the interview talking about you and your hair. Do you think that, and we're going back to tying in Native American belief, if I'm right about what I've studied in Native American belief, and it's just, in books, did they really have the belief that their hair was sort of like an antenna, that long hair would help them be more in touch with spirituality?
I have actually never heard that.
Okay.
And I've heard a lot of really fascinating things about their culture and their interesting traditions, like in some of the things that the Navajo would do. But like, I would love to know more about that. Like, if that's true, like, obviously this is relatable to me, but,
have you ever had short hair?
Yeah, there was a few years, like, from like my freshman to my sophomore year in high school, I had like pretty short hair.
Are you more spiritual now than you were then?
Definitely. Like,
there might be a correlation.
I used to be an atheist.
There might not, but there might be.
I was not happy. Let me be very clear. I was not happy, and I just, didn't see anything positive in the world. I really just bought into all the media hype about the earth, like, about to blow up, and just, nonsense.
So the whole, did you ever buy into the whole Christian end days things, tribulation, rapture, Antichrist, chopping heads, mark of the beast? Oh my God.
When I heard stuff like that, I always just assumed that this is just like it's just hateful. It's just like,
dude, I'm so excited that you say that, because people our age, these fear porners are spreading that stuff and people are buying it. They can't get enough of it. It's like heroin, meth. They just want more fear.
Yeah. And it doesn't make any sense.
And these bastards are making money off of it that are producing it.
Yeah. It doesn't make any sense to me. And, there's just so many negative things happening within religion, but I used to only see it that way and only saw everybody. Yeah. I'm like, oh, you're just dumb. You believe in this and that. Well, I've realized that that's not the attitude to have about it.
You're exactly right.
It's just not.
And you've helped me with that. You got to remember the intention of the people that are in the church.
Exactly.
By and large is a desire to be closer to God, and they're just getting duped and they're getting used. So I got to be a little bit more empathetic towards the people that are in the church. The people that are running the churches, they're rad bastards.
Yeah,
the people in the church are different. So I'd love to have you back. We could talk maybe more about Native Americans and about the stones and all that stuff. But I got to tell you, I am so excited and I feel so much better about the state of this world. Because I'll be honest with you, I used to worry about, damn, if all these young people are going to be running the world, it's going to be a shitstorm. But talking to you, I have the absolute opposite point of view. Yeah. I think it's going to get better, not worse.
I believe that, and I really appreciate you having me on. I love talking about this kind of stuff, so to actually have people listen to me about it, it's really nice. But yeah, no, I used to have a very negative outlook on what was happening and what was to come, and just through studying things myself, I've really kind of flipped on that. I really think that we're over the worst of it, and it's honestly. Yep.
See, all of these rad bastards on YouTube making money, gaining subscribers with the message that things are bad and getting worse. It's not just the old guy. Here's a young, fresh, young gun of conspiracy saying and agreeing with me that life is good and it's getting better.
Yeah, totally.
Bro, put it there. That's awesome. I love it. Please share your place where they can get your glass aliens again.
Yeah, definitely. My Instagram is @PMDoesGlass, all one word, no caps. And my Etsy is the same name, PMDoesGlass. And yeah, feel free to shoot me a DM or something. I'd love to talk about stuff. So.
Do you have an Instagram?
Yeah, that is my Instagram.
Okay.
PMDoesGlass.
Now, a lot of people said that you should start a YouTube channel.
I mean, I like talking about this stuff, and I mean, it would be awesome if other people actually liked listening to me about it. But,
well, if you ever want to, I'll give you any help that I can.
Hey, that's awesome. I really appreciate you.
Absolutely.
Having me on. Seriously.
For Jake, I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian Whistleblower. Thanks to all of you. We salute you for being here, seeking after truth. We do a lot of interviews, Jake. This has been right up among the top. Thanks for being here. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, things are not bad and getting worse. Life is good and it's getting better, ladies and gentlemen. And history is written by the winners. We can start winning today and build a better tomorrow if we get busy. For Jake, I'm Jeff Daugherty, the Christian Whistleblower, and we will see you all again soon. And remember, life is good and getting better. And let me get us out of here. We'll see you again real soon.